This morning I decided that when Kathy and I talked about it, what the topic was going to be, and it was going to be the choice. Because in this given moment that we are right now, we're choosing. And it's really interesting that everything that went on before we got to where I am in the service was kind of what I was going to talk about, about being present in the moment, um, taking time to breathe, to allow the breath to slow us down. The breath of God is the life force. And being willing to be in that place, to trust. We're choosing all the time. So what are we choosing in this experience? Because this experience is for everybody. No one is exempt. No one is excused. We all
Okay,
are participating
just mute that.
on some level in this experience.
You can
And
mute it on
so
your phone, Norman. Just turn the volume
mhm,
down. Okay.
we get to participate, And so my question to start this off is, where have you been this week? What have been your thoughts? What have been your feelings? Where are you in all this? I mean, life has changed dramatically for us. We're not accustomed to being home all the time. There's something very different about this. I was outside last night putting out the trash, and it was so quiet. It was so quiet. And I live in an apartment complex. I don't live in a house. So it's usually quite noisy out here. And just being able just to appreciate the silence, the quiet. This is a gift. It's disguised very uniquely, but this is a gift. And we get to choose how we move through this process. We get to. We get to understand that there is only one presence. There is only one power in our lives and in this universe, and it's God the good omnipotent. There is nothing outside of God. There is only God. And God has many definitions and many variations and different ways that we experience and we express it. But the fact is that we all understand, I don't care who you are, that there is something far greater out there that we are a part of. And when we understand that we're in that, we get to participate. We get to feel safe. I keep hearing words like trouble and scary and bad, and whatever we call it is what it's going to be. Now, is it I want to say, is it a test? I don't know that it's a test, but I call it an opportunity for us to look at what we're doing individually and collectively, because we know that we are one in God. And so if we're all one in God, then we're all in God, and all of this is God. Now, it looks different than any of us might have imagined, but it doesn't change the fact that it's God. And so with it being God, we know that we are safe. We know that we are well. We know that we are whole. And it's an opportunity for us to check in with our inner self. Because what we remember is that thought is a thing. And what we see outside of ourselves is the reflectiveness of thought. And so as we're moving through this process and this experience, we are getting a chance to look at how we are being. How are we contributing? How are we participating in this event, in this experience? Because we're all moving through it. We're moving through it one way or another. I almost liken this to when I was diagnosed with cancer. I was the one that was living through cancer, but everyone in my life and everyone in my circle was experiencing that process. I was the one directly impacted with it, but everyone else in my life had to deal with it. So we're getting to experience this experience directly and indirectly, because there's nothing that happens in our world that we're not a part of. And so what are we inviting in? I liken to think that I want trust. I'm trusting this process. I'm trusting that the God that I know, the God of my understanding, has got all of us, you know. And where are we, part of what kind of causes me concern is the amount of fear that's being perpetrated in this process because of the uncertainty. But one of the things that I was reading last night, Jim Rosemergy, he's a unity minister, and there was a chapter in a daily devotional that I was reading, and it talked about the mystery. There's a great degree in the tomorrow, in the next moment, because we really don't know what's coming. But the one thing that we need to know, that whatever's in the next moment, God is in that moment. So we can trust in the uncertainty because we know that there's not a place in our lives that God is not. And there's not a place in this world, in this life, that God is not. So it's always remembering that we have that safety net, that anchor, that place where we can rest. This is a time of resting and reflecting and choosing, because we're always choosing, consciously, unconsciously, or by default. So where do you want to be in the midst of all this? What do you want to be choosing? What do you want to be experiencing? I look at this as a time for me, and it's a choice that I can get quiet. I can do the things that I've been putting off or delaying because I don't have enough time. And, this is a gift of time. This is a gift of really checking in with what's going on inside of me. What am I feeling? What am I thinking? Not only in the present moment, but what has been my habitual pattern of thought. It's a time of observation, not judgment, not being critical, but just kind of looking, checking in with yourself and see how you've been using your power, how you've been using your choices, how you are participating with life. How are you showing up in life? Who are you being in life? This is just a great opportunity to just look within. We're always so busy. Do we always have time to check in? People who know me know that I have my phone set for 3 times a day, that my phone goes off, and that's my God check in. And that's where I check in with myself to see, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What's going on with me in this now moment? Am I still standing in my truth, or am I somewhere else? It's not only walking in truth and being truth, but it's also being aware of when you're not. And that's the great part, because as we evolve and as we allow ourselves to trust what we innately know about who we are, we get to check in. It's like this is a process. It's a journey. It's not a destination. We all know that as we spiritually evolve and unfold, we always get more opportunities to continue to grow and unfold. We're never at the end point. We're never at the place where we can't grow, where we can't unfold, when we can understand more, to realize and know the truth of who we are, because that doesn't change. That part of us that is our individuality, that part of us that is innately connected to source, it never changes. Our personalities change. Our likes and dislikes change. But there's a part of us that's connected to source that never changes. And that's the part we have to trust. That's the part that we can bank on, that we know that it's done, it's there, it's happening. And it's really allowing ourselves to be open, to be willing. As I was preparing for this talk, I have moments where I get, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was in my quiet time and I was, just, okay, God, show me what I need to know. And what was interesting is I got two words, let go. And so I'm still, okay, Lord. And then it dawned on me, Robin, let go. We live in a world where we want to always be in control and we want to know what's next. But in truth and in trust, there's a confidence, there's an assurance that we have in God that we can let go and know that everything is going to be all right. We are always in our right place at the right time, doing the right thing. So there are no accidents. This is an appointed time. This is a divine time. Just like this service this morning, it's divine. Everyone that's on this meeting, that's on this service, participating, because you guys are participating. It's a divine appointment. There are no accidents. This is not an accident. This is an experience. This is something we get to live through. And this is something where we get to create something new. And when I thought about this, because this was a thought, I was like, create something new. If we're focusing on only what's happening right now, then we're giving our attention to what's going on right now. And what we know about source and what we know about spirit is that which we give our attention to, we create more of. So as we're in this journey and as we are in this process, we have to be reminded that we also have to think about what's next. What kind of world do we want to live in? What kind of life do you want to have? This virus is about breath. It's about lungs. It's about that life force. You know how easy we breathe? And I guess we all do know that. But realize we breathe all the time. We're always inhaling and exhaling. It's done with ease, without our control. And when we look at our lives and we look at that life force, how are we interacting with it? How are we being with it? Are we welcoming life in all its entirety, in all its goodness into our space? Are we judging? Are we critical? Are we limiting who and what we are? This may be the time where we get to be all that we can be. There is a part of us that knows that it knows that it knows. But are we willing to let that part in? Are we willing to trust that part that knows that it knows that it knows? Because we are tapped into, we are part of that all that is, that we call God. And so as we are plugged into that, and what I mean by that is being consciously aware, not being in a place of default, just letting it happen as it is. We have a power, we have a source that is within us that allows us to be so much more than we are. And are we willing to be that? Are we willing to trust that as we charter into the unknown, that we are safe, that we are assured, that we are secure, that we are assured, that there is nothing, there is no place that we can go, that this source we call God is not present. And it's just being willing to stand in that truth despite any appearance to the contrary. Because there is, as I said in the beginning, there is only one present, one power, one light, one good, and it's all God. God is omnipotent. God is omnipresent. There is just not a place. And when we understand that, and when we remember that, there's something about that relationship with God that we have that we, when we know that God intimately, it opens great opportunities, great inroads where we can just be. It's not about the doing, because the doing is a part of knowing, of believing. But first we have to be who we've been called to be. And God only wants us to be an expression of it. And so as we are being love and light and joy and health, wholeness, it's not anything that we have to get. We just get to be it, because everything starts with a thought. And when we have the thought of love, we have the feeling of love, we have the expression of love. And so it's a choice. What are we choosing to think? What are we choosing to feel? What are we choosing to believe? What it is that we're choosing to know? And when it all boils down to is trust. Trust is confidence in God. And when we are in a place of fear or doubt or worry, we're saying essentially that we don't think that God can hear. And I'm telling you, there is nothing outside of God. And God's got this. God's got everything. Everything is a manifestation of God. So then we understand that God is only good. And we can be grateful and thankful that we are here in this now moment, because we've chosen to be here in this now moment. And if we've chosen to be here in this now moment, then we have everything that we need to move through. There is no separation, there is oneness. We have seen through this process, that this global event, that we are not separate. We are so interconnected. It to me is like, oh my God, this is amazing. And the last thing I want to say, the last question I want to ask before I close is, there is a great pouring of love on this planet right here, right now. But my question is, do we always need chaos or crisis to express this love? This love that is being physically seen is who we are. And I think that we have an opportunity here to really stand in love and light and joy. We don't need chaos and crisis to bring that out. This is an opportunity for us to reevaluate who we are as a people, who we are as individuals, and who we're going to be in the next moment. Because the point of power is in the present moment. In the choices we make now creates the future. So what are we going to choose now? Are we going to choose fear, resistance, doubt, and worry? Or are we going to choose love, trust, faith of God, love of God, joy, all that God is? And we all know who God is. And when we can trust that, and we can go to that place of where we exist innately and let our life spring forth from that part of us, allowing that God to have dominion and authority, and to allow it to direct us, we can live a different life, a greater life. We can choose to be greater than we are today. And I just invite you all to just kind of reflect on who you are and who you're being and who you want to be and how you're going to contribute to this experience. Are you going to be in solution or are you going to be in resistance? It's all choice. And we remember that as we choose, we create. And so I invite you to create a world that works for all of us because we are all one. There is no separation. And lastly, I would like to close with two of my favorite scriptures. And one is Proverbs 3:5-6. And this is the one I live with. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and God will guide and direct your path. We are God expressing. Allow God to be the expression of you. For you are God's expression, even if you're not conscious. So choose to be a conscious participant in this life, in this world, and trust that you have everything that you need. Trust that you know everything that you know. And if you don't know it consciously, you'll be guided consciously to express. And for this, we are grateful. And I just say thank you to each one of you for being on this morning, for being a part of being a part of the change that is happening in our world. And I bless you and I salute you and I say thank you. And so it is.